I hope the holiday season is going well for you. I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about some of the highlights of the videos that I put out here over the past year. I'm David C. Barnett, and you're tuned in to Small Business and Deal Making, the podcast, YouTube channel, and blog where I talk about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium-sized businesses while controlling risk. So if you're looking to take control of your future through buying a business one day, or if you already own a business and you're looking to grow or exit, you've come to the right place. I talk about interesting things, I talk to interesting people, and I answer your questions every week right here. So be sure to hit like and be sure to hit subscribe, and let's get to it. Hey everyone, I'm really looking forward to today's episode because in getting ready, I had to take some time, go back, take a look at some of the videos that I put together over the course of this year, rewatch some of the interviews that I had done. And it's interesting because while I recognize that a high number of views on a given video is an indicator of how popular that video is, it's interesting to me that some of the videos that I really thought were some of the key ones for the year are also not the most viewed. So I took some time and I put together this list, and here I'm going to share my screen because what I also did is I created a playlist. So if you've got time over the holidays and you want to watch some of these videos, what we'll do is we'll have the link here somewhere in the video and in the down in the notes for sure. So you can click on that and then you can go and just play the whole playlist. And some of these videos admittedly are long, so it's quite a long playlist to go through. But I wanted to just do a little recap and speak a little bit about some of these videos that have shown up here. And we're going to scroll through them. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you which ones I thought, should have been amongst the most viewed, but were not. And so the first three videos that were amongst some of the most popular that were watched this year form part of a new kind of content that I dabbled in 2022 for the first time ever, which is, fastest way to $500,000 income was me going through a Twitter thread that described a deal making methodology. And I went through step by step and I tried to follow the deal using an Excel spreadsheet and try to make sense of it to see whether the story, as it was told on Twitter, was a realistic demonstration of what is actually possible, or whether it was, a little bit of a hype and hyperbole. And so that one went over so well and really created the opportunity for this other one down here, the zero down laundromat deals one. Because after I created the 500,000 income one, I started to get more emails from people about this kind of content on the internet. And so that's what allowed me to, or basically someone forwarded me this zero down laundromat deal video. And then I went through and I did the same thing. I watched the video over and over again, and I broke down the deal in a spreadsheet and kind of explained the different steps, and then looked at the result to see whether or not it was a realistic description of what you can actually do. And for people who've seen these, I don't mean to spoil it, but no, there was a lot of hype, a lot of cheerleading and over exuberant optimism, and the things described on the internet turned out not to be real. And so if you haven't seen those, I highly recommend you check them out. This other one here is another example of me going over someone else's content in a very different way. This one, again, was a Twitter thread, and it was from a broker down in Texas, a business broker, and he put out a thread called 19 Ways That Brokers and Sellers Overprice Their Small Businesses. And his name is Clint, and he's on Twitter. And I thought it was great because I agreed with a lot of what he'd said. And I went through and I kind of added my 2 cents to a lot of his points and comments and made some variations on a few of them. So it ended up being another great video. This other one here, 8 Reasons Not to Buy a Business, is one of the top viewed videos for the year. It kind of surprised me because I made this one kind of in a reactionary bent after looking at some of those other videos that I put together. Just looking at all the hype going on online in this space about, you know, why you should get out of your way to just go and, if you don't buy a business, you're missing the deal of a lifetime and all this kind of stuff. And so I thought that I should create a video that kind of was the counter position to that. And it turned out to be very popular. Then, this video here, what number do I multiply? SDE, EBIT, EBITDA. This is representative of one of the old school videos that I've always been making, which is answering a specific question and educating and teaching. And of all of the sort of top ranked viewed videos for the year, this was one of the lowest viewed of the top ones, but it was the most viewed of the instructional style videos. And I mentioned last week that there's been a change a little bit in the audience here on YouTube as I've gone and monetized my channel here in 2022. And I've sort of noticed that there's now a group of people who are kind of looking for me to entertain them with business content. And then there are the people who are looking to learn and understand because they're trying to execute on a deal. And it's become very apparent to me that there's these two different camps out there in the audience. Then we get into the live ones. So this was a great one. And of the live videos, the interviews, this one was the fourth most viewed. Get business brokers to take you seriously, where I interviewed business broker Stephen Beal. Less than 1,000 views. And Stephen dropped some really great comments and hints on what he looks for when he's dealing with someone that approaches him over the internet, concerned or wanting to learn about one of his listings. And I consistently get emails and feedback from people who talk about how awful brokers are because they don't return messages, they don't return calls, they don't deliver, they ghost on you and stuff like this. If this has been happening to you over and over again and you just can't get these business brokers to pay any attention to you, then you might want to check out this video, because it could very well be that you're doing things that are transmitting the idea that you are not to be taken seriously. And so that's what Stephen and I were talking about that day. How to steal money in a small business with Rick Nicholson. Last week, I alluded to the issues of operations. And this is what this video is all about. If you are going to have people in your business and you're going to have cash or inventory or anything like that, then there can be an opportunity for you to be taken advantage of for people to steal time, money, or inventory from you. And so we had this conversation again at the time I did my research, fewer than 1,000 views. And if you're on my channel because you someday want to own a business, this is the kind of content that you should be absorbing, because the deal only happens for a moment. Then you end up being an operator for years. So I would encourage you to go check that out. On my main YouTube page, click the live tab. That's where you're going to find all of these interviews, because since the end of 2020, I've been doing them all as live streams. And so that one was a really good one too. The two live videos that got the largest number of views, the number one position was the interview with Lisa Forrest from Live Oak Bank. And she was talking about SBA loans. And again, not much of a surprise because so many people here are looking for information about how to do deals. So the interview with Lisa was very well received, and she talked specifically, and this is for Americans who can get an SBA guaranteed loan. She talked about the program. She talked about some of the rules, some of the ways you have to qualify, etc. And then my interview with Palmer Higgins, which got into the nuts and bolts of how Chenmark, which is a holding company in Maine, how they go about organizing themselves so they can have other people managing the businesses that they own. And, Palmer and his other partners, they do appear on a lot of podcasts. They're very active online. And so I know that there are a lot of people who have probably heard him before, and maybe they were attracted to come and watch the interview that I did with him. But again, more of an operational conversation. And we did talk a little bit about deal making, but I wasn't surprised that it was a top viewed conversation, but still just over 2,000 views. for a channel that is quickly approaching 30,000 subscribers, there's certainly a lot of you out there that could really learn a lot from that conversation. Go and listen in. And another point about this is that if you don't know, all of the videos that I make, I take the audio and I put the audio onto SoundCloud, which then feeds out to Spotify and Amazon and Google Podcasts and all of the other major podcast plays out there. So I know that sometimes the longer form content doesn't get as many views on YouTube because people are enjoying that just listening to the audio while they're driving or what have you. So then we get down here into the very end. And so there are 3 videos here that were not the most popular videos. They're upload videos. And these are the ones that I thought really should have gotten more attention and more views because I thought they were important. And one of them dates back from earlier in the year. Is when is 90% bank financing okay? And this is a reprise of the discussion that I've been a part of many times where I criticize super high bank leverage. And listen to the B word, bank leverage. I'm not a critic of high leverage if you want to leverage your deals and borrow a lot of money. But to me, the qualities of the debts that you take on to buy a business are important. And the qualities involved with a bank debt are very different than the qualities associated with seller financing, for example, or some other kinds of debt that are out there. So this was a video that I thought was really important. The whole conversation about absentee businesses keeps coming up, and I was surprised that this video didn't get more views. But I talk in particular about a danger when it comes to absentee businesses and businesses that are often advertised as being absentee operatable, I guess. And then this one here, the last one here, do you decide what business is right for you? This is probably one of the biggest questions that I deal with for people that realize that they want to own a business. It makes more sense to buy one than to start one. And then they seem seized by indecision. How do I figure it out? And in that video, I walk through the methodology of how you figure it out. And this is, to me, one of the most critical things for people that are trying to buy a business. And here's why. If you don't know what you want, you end up just wandering around doing what I call window shopping. You end up looking at ads for things that are for sale. You end up chasing down one potential deal after another. And each time you look at a new deal, it's in a new industry, which means you have to go and initiate yourself in learning all about that industry. So you have to keep relearning over and over again. You never become more efficient at looking at deals. Whereas if you decide what kind of business you want, then it's much easier to undertake a proprietary search. And you become better and more efficient at your search and analysis because you keep looking at the same kind of business. Excuse me. Over and over again. And so this is a video that I definitely think should have gotten more views than it did. So take a look down in the notes and hit click the link. And if you've got some time here over the holidays and you want to check out what some of the most popular and most underrated videos of the year were, then check it out. And right now, people on the email list have been enjoying the holiday chat calls, which started on Christmas Day, and there's still more coming out. And if you are not on the email list, I would highly recommend that you join the list so that you can get access to the holiday chat calls right away. And you can find them you can sign up for the list over at davidcbarnettlist.com. Every day, I'm releasing a new holiday chat call only to the people on the email list. If you're not on the list and you want to hear those calls, you're going to have to wait until summertime because the only time that I play them for people in the general public who are not on the list is on Fridays through the summer. And with that, I hope that you're having a great holiday season. 2023, I think, is going to hold a lot of opportunities for everyone. And if buying a business is something that you're serious about, of course, head over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. Where you can learn how to buy a business in a risk controlled fashion, which I think is one of the most important things to be thinking about when you acquire a small business. It is one of the world's riskiest asset classes. And so risk has got to be one of the number one concerns when looking at and creating a deal for their acquisition. And with that, I'll say see you later. Thank you very much. We'll chat soon. So, how can you learn more about buying, selling, financing, and managing small and medium sized businesses? Easy. Head over to my blog site at davidcbarnett.com. You'll find hundreds of articles and videos, all for free. You'll find links to my books and online courses, and you can sign up for my email list and get emails covering topics that interest you and be notified of new videos. Special thanks go out to today's video sponsor, Mark Willis of Lake Growth Financial. Mark helps people better manage their personal wealth and business finances through the Bank on Yourself insurance strategy. This is something I've done personally and have gotten lots of positive feedback from people I've worked with over the years. Go to newbankingsolution.com to find a playlist of all the interviews I've done with Mark and to learn more about the advantages of these programs. While there, sign up to arrange a conversation about what this solution might look like for you.